Hello, everyone. Day after Christmas coming to you. Nancy, fix this. Uh, Live from Paloma Media Studios in Chinatown. Hello. I hope everyone had a beautiful Christmas. I had an interesting one, including the power going out at my mother's upstate, but all is well, and I'm back in the city. Be aware, I'm about to drop some names. So the first thing I actually want to say is I read one of the finest pieces I've ever read this morning by Elizabeth Brunig about her family leaving Texas and what that meant. Obviously, I can't do it justice by just saying that. I have it. It's my top tweet right now over on the Twitter machine. Go read it. I can't say enough about it. It's easily in Didion land, but it's so good. It's so true. The second thing I'm going to say is I wanted to grab a drink. I warned people I was going to do that before I got in here live. I'm drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper that my dearest Sarah Hepla, who I do the podcast with, Smoke 'em if you got 'em, uh, brought when she was here last time because her dear friend Steve Kornacki, who of course is everybody's sweetheart, America's sweetheart, used to bring her when they worked together at Salon. I believe I'm getting that right. So I'm going to have that because that's how that goes. Mm. Why is it asking me to moderate? I don't think there's anyone here to ask me any questions. That's okay. I'm recording this anyway. The reason I came on here today is for the past 3 months, maybe 4 months, I've been serializing a book of essays I wrote called 40 Bucks of a Dream Stories of Los Angeles, which kind of in line with Brunig started it was another life of mine. When I lived in LA, I got to Los Angeles in 86. I left in 2004. A lot of things happened. Um, and I just recorded I wrote some of the things that happened to me, some of the stories I wrote about the people of Los Angeles. And there is one other chapter. There was like a penultimate chapter, but I decided it's the end of a year. There are going to be some things ending in my career life, and then some new ones beginning, which we will talk about. But I thought let's sew up the memoir with the final chapter today, which I'm going to read to you on my phone. Which the first time I saw someone read from their phone at a reading, I thought, ugh, I will never do that. But here I am doing it. So everyone, there'll be a link here. You can go over to my Substack, which is nancyrommelman.substack.com or Make More Pie. It's easy to find. If you guys know how to do this, you can find me. And you can read the whole thing there. It's free. Or I mean, you can pay for it if you want to, but it's free. Okay, this last chapter is called Bite and Smile. Back in 1990, after I'd had a baby and before I'd given up illusions of being an actress, I accepted my then neighbor's offer of commercial representation. This, despite her saying she couldn't see me selling anything except maybe spaghetti sauce. No agent I ever went to could figure out what to do with me. Three had glanced at my headshot and said, Deborah Winger type, because perhaps because I too did not appear to brush my hair. Before this agent would send me out on auditions, she wanted me to take a 4-week commercial acting class. The cost was $200, which, with a new baby, I did not have. Did I really need to take the class? Her answer indirectly said, If you don't, I won't send you out. I'll give you the money, my dad said, but what exactly are you going to learn? I didn't know and still did not know when I showed up at a blocks long apartment complex on a treeless section of Riverside Drive in Sherman Oaks, a stretch where the stucco structures are painted the color of oranges, Pepto Bismol, and sand. At the elevator, I ran into three other students, each of us carrying headshots and resumes, just in case. Let yourselves in, someone shouted as we reached the appointed apartment. Our teacher, whom I will call Dolores, was in a vinyl lounger set in front of a TV tuned to a home shopping channel. She might have been around 40 with pea sized eyes and a pancake of curly hair that sat on her head like a toupee on a beach ball. The beach ball reference is proportional, as Dolores weighed at least 500 pounds, weight that spread and slumped toward the floor. She looked like a gigantic chocolate chip, one that was melting. Oof, she said as she rolled out of the chair, which was lined with a towel to catch her sweat, and lumbered a few feet to crank up the air conditioner. She must have anticipated her students' astonishment as she clapped her hands to snap us to attention. Okay, she said, and made for the dining table, where she'd reached for a plate of sandwiches. Her fingers looked like nubs poking from catcher's mitts of flesh, and on each finger were at least two big jeweled rings, biting into her skin in a way that looked painful, if not potentially gangrenous. Dolores turned to us. Her face was immense, a bloated, drooping mask of tragedy. "Bite and smile," she said, making a corner of a chicken sandwich appear to disappear between her parted lips while not, apparently, consuming it. "Actors don't eat on camera. It would take too much time," she continued, and had us each take half a sandwich from a plate. "Plus, the camera doesn't want to see all the chewed up food in your mouth." For 10 minutes, we practiced biting and smiling. Uh, duh, duh. Um, Break time, Dolores said, and went back to her chair. She told us she was hooked on QVC. "Sometimes I stay up all night and buy jewelry," she said, and laughed to herself as we stared at the television for 20 minutes. There was 10 more minutes of biting and smiling, and class was over. "What did you think?" a girl asked as we stood by the elevator. I told her I thought it was bizarre, some kind of sucker setup. "Yeah," she said, her eyes traveling past the window, its sill frozen in wavelets of stucco. "But are you going to go back?" I did go back, partly because my dad had given me the money, mostly because I felt like a fool. There had to be something more here, didn't there? The second week, Dolores gave up the pretense of teaching and seemed content for the two of us who'd returned, and in truth, mostly me, to ask her about her life. Sitting in the chair, running a kitchen towel between the folds of her neck, she stared at the television and said no, she didn't act anymore. She only taught 6 classes a week. That was enough to support her. She was not married, no kids. She had 2 cats. They never went outside. She didn't leave the house much either. As for the bite and smile food, she didn't eat it after we left. She preferred sweets. I did not go back for the 3rd or 4th class. I couldn't take it. When I made a sideways mention to my agent about Dolores's limitations, she cleared her throat and insisted Dolores was one of the best in the business. I sensed there was some gentleman's agreement between the two women. Who knew the genesis? I don't know whether it's heartrending or heartbreaking to imagine Dolores as a dish in the 1960s, a young Joan Collins type of some minor success, then less, then a lot less, until she became another ball in the city's maze, centrifugal force carrying her around this turn, gravity dropping her there, until she came to rest somewhere near the bottom. And who's to tell her she's wrong to stay? She's in showbiz, isn't she? And she is, I'm sure, or the next incarnation of her, still there in a sweltering apartment in the valley, sitting in front of her television, ready to show the next generation of us how it all might go down. Thanks, everyone. If you want to read the rest, I think there's about 20 other chapters, which started when I was leaving Los Angeles, 2003, 2004. I started a blog called Leaving LA, and sort of just wrote down some of the stories of the city, which I've added to over the years and sort of constructed in a way that I hope is enjoyable for you. I'm wishing you all, obviously, a wonderful holiday season. I hope that you have lots of interesting dreams and plans for 2023. I do. And we'll see you here soon. Thank you. Bye.